It's Friday.
Bye.
Friday.
Last day. Christmas break is upon us in just a few hours.
Just a few
And the
hours.
beautiful thing about today is, the sun is shining for one. That makes it a beautiful day. Beautiful day part two is that we're going to work a little bit later because there's no hurry to get to work as it's the last day before our break, which also means before any holidays or breaks or anything like that, they always do what they call like a sandstorm or ice storm. So I ain't trying to get to work super early, knowing it's going to be a short day at work. Right. You know what I'm talking about? And then, you know what? Don't tell nobody. But while I'm at work, I'm going to sneak over to the Total Wine and More that's right next to the job and get supplies for the long break, if you know what I'm talking about.
Is that right?
I want to talk about sports. I would like to talk about sports.
Well,
Your favorite subject.
that means you're not talking to me.
Well, you can have an opinion.
Okay.
What else? What do you want to talk about?
I don't have it. You call the shots here. I don't have anything on my mind that I want to talk about.
So anyway, sports. So this kind of goes back to holiday traditions. Mm-hmm. And it was always a holiday tradition of mine when I was a little kid. Really just mine. Nobody in my family was ever into sports. I am the most outlier-ish person in a family that you could possibly have as far as like things everybody does, and I don't do any of those things, and I do the things that nobody else in my family does. Mm-hmm. So like I am the tallest person in my family. I am the only person in my family that cares about sports. I didn't have any sort of military allegiance or like affiliation. Like my oldest brother's in the military. My older brother was in ROTC. My dad was in like some sort of, he was in the Coast Guard, I think. Of course, my grandfather was in the military, in the wars, and I had no care about joining the military. Anyways, all that to say, this was like my own tradition. So, college football. You are aware of college football?
I know that it exists.
I have never been like a big college football fan. For one, I didn't go to a college that had a football team. I went to that private college, business college, and then I went to University of Phoenix online to finish my degree. So no like real world college football experience. My oldest brother, he's quite a bit older than me. Me and my middle brother were like 3 years apart. But my oldest brother, I don't even know how many years apart we were. So the majority of my memories of my oldest brother is him coming home from college during like the holidays. But he went to Arizona State. And just because of that, Arizona State has always been a team that that was my college football team that I always supported. Just because, one, that's the one college football team I'm familiar with from my brother being there, but also because of their mascot and logo, which is the Sun Devil, Arizona State Sun Devils. Mm-hmm. And it's got the mascot's name is Sparky, and it's just a picture of a devil holding a pitchfork. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it's like a maroon and yellow color scheme. I like the color scheme. I like the logo. I like the fact that they're called the Sun Devils. But to put it even further over the top, the reason why I liked it even more is because I get quite a bit of enjoyment of just being difficult with people I don't like. So in elementary, there was like a couple year period where I went to a private school, a private Christian school, private Baptist elementary. I don't know what grades I was there from, but I was there for like 2, maybe 3 years. And you had to wear a uniform every day. Not like a real uniform, but you had to wear like khaki pants, a belt. You had to wear a collared shirt of some form tucked in. But on certain days, like as a treat, they'd let you wear like a regular shirt, like over your collared shirt. So I would always wear an Arizona State Sun Devil shirt with a big picture of a devil holding a pitchfork on my shirt. And of course, that didn't go over very well at a private Baptist school. So that always caused a problem. I always kind of got in trouble for it. And because I got in trouble for it, of course I had to do it more and more and more. So any opportunity I got, that would be what I would wear, is the Arizona State Sun Devil shirt with the mascot front and center holding a pitchfork, just to piss them off. So even as a young wee lad, I enjoyed pissing off people for the sake of it. So anyways, back to the holiday tradition. The holiday tradition was watching the bowl games during the holiday season. So, do you know what bowl games are?
No.
Okay.
Ow.
So there's like just like the NFL, there's a regular season. Damn this, son. There's a regular season worth of football games that all the college football teams play. And it's kind of similar to the NFL in that they play them, they determine who the best teams are. This is how it used to be. They determine who the best teams are, and they play the bowl games at the end of the season. And the bowl games are essentially like individual little Super Bowls that would happen. So and there was like less prestigious bowl games and more prestigious bowl games.
Gotcha.
And like the most prestigious bowl game would always happen like on New Year's Day or something like that, or right around it. And it was like the Rose Bowl or the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl. It was like one of those three typically. Yes. And they even still do the Rose Bowl. They still do the Rose Bowl parade every single year out in California. And like the two best teams in college football, like with the two best records, typically the team would have to go undefeated throughout the entire season. Those two teams would play in the Rose Bowl, and that would determine like who the national champion was of college football, like the best team in college football. And that would be like the big Super Bowl for college football. And there'd be like little crappy ones like the Tostitos, Tostito Fiesta Bowl wasn't really small crappy, but there'd be like weird things like the Arm & Hammer Bowl or something like that. That would be like, there's a couple teams that had good records, they did well, but they are not up there. So they would play another team with a similar record. But it was always very unique because it was like teams that typically would never play each other. It was just like they had the similar records, and here's your opportunity to be like, oh, you win this bowl game, you have bragging rights for that bowl game. And then like as like the actual football players, they wouldn't get money, but they would get like a whole bunch of like prizes and giveaways from whatever company was sponsoring that bowl game. So they might get a watch, a ring, they might get like a whole bunch of like shirts and stuff like that. I mean, it was decent stuff. It wasn't like you're getting a car or you're getting a bunch of money, but it was cool stuff that they would get. Anyways, so being a casual fan of college football and watching I didn't really watch regular season college football games. It wasn't a big interest of mine. But during the holiday season, I would always watch almost all of the bowl games, from the little crappy ones to the very important ones that determined who the national champion was. And there's like a good maybe 20 bowl games that happened throughout the course of like that Christmas break that we would be on. They would start, this year they've already started. Like they started probably last week. So it would span a course of a few weeks leading up to that big like Rose Bowl, Cotton Bowl, or Sugar Bowl to determine who the national champion was. And I always loved watching those games because they had meaning to them. And they were unique, and they were like little small events. And that's what I think I really liked the most about them. They were a once a year an event that happened. Similar to like the Super Bowl. It's a once a year event that happens. And it was the same thing with college football. Even these little crappy bowl games, it only happened once a year. And it was the one time out the year that you'd see these two college football teams, maybe even college football teams you'd haven't ever heard of, that you didn't know that they had college football teams. and it was a unique event to see. And they'd happen all throughout the state, all throughout the country. And they would play like neutral ground. So let's say if University of Texas was playing, the bowl game that they're playing wouldn't necessarily be in Texas. It might be in Colorado, California, Ohio, whatever. Which also gave the fan an opportunity to go to a bowl game and see a college football game from teams that they've never seen. So like there's bowl games that happen in Fort Worth and Dallas every single year. And we went to one year, baby. It was me, you, Natanya, and Marcus. We went to, and it was freezing cold outside, and we sat there and we watched the college bowl game. I think it was it was either at the SMU Stadium or in Fort Worth. So it gives you an opportunity to go see a bowl game and see teams you've never seen before. So I love that. Now, as the years progressed, up until, I don't know when they started this. This was a handful of years ago. The NCAA, they decided to implement a playoff system, which of course is what the NFL uses, a playoff system, which is all major sports use a playoff system of some sort. NBA, NFL, MLB, they all have a playoff system. They don't play a regular season, then have these random one-off games. So to determine who the national championship team was, who the best college football team was, they implemented a playoff format. And it started with only 4 teams. 4 teams would make the playoff, and they would be like a single game elimination. And then that would lead to the final 2 teams playing for the national championship. And even though they implemented a 4-game playoff to determine who the national championship was, they still had all the bowl games happening around that playoff. So like there's all these bowl games happening throughout that Christmas break, and then like the last 2 weeks it was going to be the playoff, college football playoff, to determine who the national championship was. So the bowl games were still fun, still cool, but because they implemented that playoff system, it kind of took away from the bowl games, because it made the playoffs the focal point. That was like the bigger event versus seeing all the bowl games happening, all the different teams playing. Now it's like, okay, there's the regular season, then there's the bowl games, then there's the playoffs. Where it used to be there's the regular season and then there's the bowl games. Now there's 3 tiers to it instead of just 2 tiers. So it put more focus on the playoffs, less focus on the bowl games, which was kind of like, so I kind of, and that's when you really started getting some of these weird bowl games, like the Pop-Tarts bowl game and like the meaningless bowl game and things like that from like small companies that, you know, you're like, what? How are they sponsoring a bowl game? Anyways, and as the years went by, they keep expanding the college football playoff to include more teams, because it's always like, okay, we're going to take the 4 best teams, put them in the playoff to determine who the single best team is, right? But it's like there's always controversy. So 4 teams get in, but there's always like 5, that 5th or 6th team that maybe went undefeated or maybe had this win over this team, and they're like, wait a minute, we should have been in the playoff over this team or whatever. So of course they expanded to, I think they expanded to 6 teams, then to 8 teams. I think now we're sitting at 8 teams get into the playoff, and they're talking about expanding it to 12 teams in the upcoming years. So as they keep expanding the college football playoff system, it keeps taking away from the bowl games. So now with 8 teams in the college football playoffs and talking about expanding to 12 games, the bowl games happening this year are, I believe this year is like the tipping point for the bowl games. Because every year there's been less emphasis placed on them, and there's been less bowl games in general. But this year, and this was like 2 weeks ago, I saw the number of teams. So it might have increased by now. There, in my last looking at, there were 9 teams scheduled to play in a bowl game. And 9 teams said, no, we're not going to play. So they're just saying, we don't want to play in the bowl games. Most notably, Notre Dame. High profile team. They were in position to be in the playoff picture, but they didn't make it into the 18 playoffs. So they were scheduled to go play a bowl game against whatever team, and they were like, "No, we're pissed off. We're going to pout, and we're just not going to play the bowl game." So there's 9 teams that declined the bowl game invitations. So it's like, because of that, now they have to go find other crappier teams to fill those spots with, of course, worse records. So that diminishes the value of that bowl game, because now you're not seeing a marquee team.
Right.
Now you're seeing a replacement team, essentially, go compete against probably another replacement team. And this all stems from, of course, the NIL. Now, what is NIL?
Right. What is NIL?
Name, image, and likeness. That's what NIL stands for. This goes back to when they started allowing players to get paid for their name, image, and likeness.
Well, I think that's a good thing.
I do too.
Okay.
But it used to always be like, it was so ridiculous. It used to be very strict that a college football player cannot make any money or any endorsements or anything. Why was that
the rule?
Because they're considered amateur student athletes. So as an amateur, you're not supposed to be making money. I don't know.
But why?
It's called control, and it's called, the people running it, the NCAA and all the colleges, they wanted all the money for themselves.
Okay,
that's all it is.
That's my
They essentially wanted free labor. They're making billions of dollars, and they wanted all of that. They wanted 100% of the pie. They didn't want to have to distribute, and they're still not really, because it's NIL, it's name, image, and likeness. So the players are making money from outside things. Like if they want to do a commercial, they can do a commercial and make money off of that. If the company wants to endorse them, they want to be like, I'm sponsoring a watch brand or whatever, a company can pay them to be like a sponsor. You know what I'm saying? So the campuses aren't really paying them, even though they kind of are now. They're just paying them through their booster system. So like alumni or like rich and famous people that went to the university, they'll like put into the pot of money that the boosters can give to an athlete to hopefully bring them to their team now. But anyway, this has turned the whole college landscape upside down. So now all college athletes, no matter the sport, whether they play basketball all the way to something very random, like let's say they're a wrestler or they're a gymnast or they play badminton or whatever, they have the opportunity to make money based on their name, image, and likeness. So they can get sponsorships and brand deals and those types of things, and they get paid for being in video games and stuff like that. So now there's like an NCAA college football game. Every single player that's in that game gets a percentage of the profits from that game, which is cool, great for the athlete. But because of that, with money comes a sense of entitlement and a sense of I'm this important, right? If I am
because now I can put an actual amount to my worth.
Right.
Like,
if let's just imagine if you're 19 years old and you have people saying, we're going to give you millions of dollars to come do something for us.
Oh yeah.
You're going to think you hot shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Which is fine. I get that. It comes with the territory. And, you know, the people that can handle that and be mature about it.
As opposed to, like, awaiting a couple more years to get into
the pros
and think you're hot shit then. I mean, so.
Well.
Not that it matters, but I'm
right. Money, more money, more problems.
Yeah. But I guess the maturity level, too, of these kids.
A teenager with the millions of dollars is a dangerous thing, typically.
Yeah.
So the mature ones that are professionals about it can handle it, of course, succeed at the next level. But with the whole name, image, and likeness deal, that came with the initial downgrade of the bowl system, in that it started with not teams saying they're not going to play in bowl games. It started with individual players saying, well, I'm sitting out. I'm not going to, the team is going to go play, but that individual player is like, I'm not going to play because I'm worth X amount of dollars. I'm not going to risk injury.
Right.
That's going to lead me that's going to prevent me from going to the pros or prevent me from making more money on a game that in their mind is meaningless. Because now the meaning is the money.
Right.
So the money is now more valuable than anything else, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to play in an extra football game after the season has ended. They've made their money. They've fulfilled their obligations and things like that. So playing in this game would not financially make sense to them. Mm-hmm. So that started with players refusing or just sitting out, not playing in the games with their teams, which has now become just teams, entire teams straight up saying, we're not playing in these bowl games because, again, there's no point to it. It's all about money now. Where back in the day when the NCAA did control everything and players weren't allowed to make any money, those bowl games genuinely had meaning to them. Mm-hmm. And it meant something to the players, it meant something to the teams, it meant something to the fans. But of course now, with the inclusion of individual money, players making money individually, all of that has kind of gone out the window. So while I say that I think that the NIL thing is great, and I think these kids should be making money off what they are doing because they're making their university millions upon millions of dollars, they should get some of that as well, especially since they're risking their livelihood, their bodies, their life.
100%.
These kids can get seriously injured and never make it to the pros. And prior to the NIL, like if you got seriously injured at the college level, like you were just kind of screwed because they weren't going to take care of you. You weren't going to have insurance because you were an amateur athlete. So the school wasn't going to take care of your insurance.
Sounds like they were just getting over.
Yeah, for sure. So if you happened to get paralyzed playing college football, your life was pretty much fucked. But now that's not the case because now those high-level college football players have the opportunity to make millions. And there's a lot of college athletes now that are actually choosing to stay in college, which is kind of the inverse of what everybody thought, what was happening. Because it used to be everybody wanted to just get to the pro so they could start making their money. So players, there was like you had in the NFL, they required you to be 2 years removed from high school. You don't necessarily have to play college football, but you have to be 2 years removed from playing high school. And so a lot of times players in college football played their 2 years only out of requirement to try to make it to the pros. But now that these players are making millions of dollars, they're saying, well, wait a minute, I'm making millions of dollars right now in college. I'm not guaranteed to be like a high draft pick in the NFL. So if I were to go to the NFL, I might take actually a pay cut because depending on where I get drafted. So now I'm just going to stay in college and keep making a couple more $1 million because it's all about, priorities. They got to take care of their families, do whatever. So it's more financially responsible for them to maybe stay in college versus risking it in the NFL where there's such a there's a minute number of places. There's only so many spots. The 53-man roster on each team. There's 32 teams. Do the math. I have no idea what it is. But compared to hundreds of colleges that all have that same size roster, if not larger, you have a greater opportunity to find a place to be and have a greater opportunity to make money where if you might get drafted late in the round, get a rookie minimum contract, not making a couple millions of dollars, and then who knows if you make the team or not. So all of that roundabout way of saying I miss the old college bowl games. I miss the bowl season in and of itself because it was such a tradition, such a holiday tradition, and it's gone now. Like, I'm not going to watch any of the bowl games this season. Like, it used to be a thing. You look at the schedule and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to watch this one, I'm going to watch this one, I'm going to watch this one. You'd find out when they were all happening, what times they're happening, and you'd pick out the ones you really want to watch. Now, I don't care about watching any of them because I know the vast majority of the teams that are in there either don't care or they are a replacement team. I know the players don't care. So that's the sad thing about injecting that NIL and injecting that money into the system. It's a double-edged sword, I guess you could say. It has its positives, it has its negatives, so on and so forth. But yeah, what do you think? You haven't said a single thing And I brought up this topic specifically because you said you wanted to talk about this.
That is so funny. And it is a lie. And on this topic, I'm going to be a listener because I don't have much to say about it except for the fact that I do agree that these kids should be getting paid and these people should not be making money off the backs of our kids like this. So that's all I have to contribute to this sports conversation.
And it's so hilarious looking back at it, because not even too long ago, there were teams for a while there, back when the players weren't allowed to make any money. It seemed like every couple of years a news story came out with a controversy after that college player went to the pros, that it was found out that while they were in college they were somehow making money. There were NCAA violations, and like one of the most famous ones I think is Reggie Bush, where he won a Heisman Trophy and a national championship, and they retroactively went back because they found out somehow he was getting paid or he was doing something that violated NCAA rules. They took away his Heisman Trophy. They took away the national championship because of those things. And that happened so many times to coaches, players, and teams and things like that, where they were like retroactively penalized for quote unquote NCAA violations. And now, of course, none of that stuff would have been a violation. It's just like, wow.
So can they retroactively give them those titles?
I don't know I can't remember what happened with Reggie. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what makes it even more hilarious. It's like, you can't take away the fact we won the national championship. Mm-hmm. You can go back and try to change the record book saying you didn't win it, but y'all won it. Mm-hmm. And just like the Heisman Trophy, he got the trophy. You can't go back and say he didn't win it when he actually did. So it's all meaningless and pointless.
He still physically has the trophy?
Probably, I don't know. Yeah. But I think they went back and, I don't know, but I think they went back and said, okay, well, you know what? All this stuff was pointless. So yeah, we'll restore your titles or whatever. I can't remember if they did that or not, but it just highlights the fact of how dumb some of this stuff is. The whole argument was. And we make up these fake rules that don't really mean anything, but because via perspective, they do mean something, I guess, at the time. But now looking back on it, it's like, oh, that was dumb. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's what I had to say. I've been thinking about that a lot. I miss the good old days of the college bowl season, even though I'm not a college football fan. I miss the bowl games. Whew. Okay. Thank you for your contributions.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hasta luego.
Bye.